Good morning. It's Tuesday, and that means it's time for Around the County with Nelson County Judge-Executive Tim Hutchins and guests today. Good morning, Judge Hutchins. And first, let's say thank you for the sponsor of the show, Joe Hill's Power Sports and Outdoor Equipment, sponsoring the show. Of course, they made a generous donation to the just concluded Kiwanis radio auction, and thank them for that, too.
You're good, yeah. Good morning, Roth, and the Joe Hill's Power Sports. We always want to thank them for sponsoring our show. Today we have with us Catherine Masterson. She's in our finance, Catherine Beavers, I should say, now. So she works in the finance and grants office at the courthouse, and she wears a lot of hats, so she's really been a good asset to the community and the court, and just a lot of things going on that she's helped us in. With this FEMA disaster we've had with all this flooding, she was helping Brad Metcalf and that team tremendously with all the paperwork and everything. And so, of course, we got more storms coming today, I think, where they talk, so we can't get away from the storm countywide, but statewide, I tell you, we was really, really fortunate. I guess it was Friday. You go down in London and Somerset, and I know a lot of people. I've got some good friends down there, and it could have been really, really bad here. We just, luckily, we missed out. Had a few trees down, but nothing major. So, but anyway, we take the calls 348-2222 and or text. And I don't know if you got any text up there previously or not.
No.
Anybody's got any questions about anything countywide, and we'll start the show. And Catherine, you got we got our individual assistance through the FEMA. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. So last week we were finally designated for individual assistance for the severe flooding, high winds, and the storm damage that occurred in early April. So residents can apply for that much needed federal disaster aid, which has been wonderful. So if residents have been affected by those storms in the early April, they can apply for FEMA assistance by going online to disasterassistance.gov, or they can call the FEMA helpline at 800-621-3362, or they can visit a disaster recovery center you will hear it referred to as a DRC. Currently, there are 3 open near us. One is in Elizabethtown at the Kentucky State Police Post Number 4, located on 954 Cameron Ponder Lane. And then there's also one in Hodgensville, and then in Bullitt County on Saltwell Road in Shepherdsville. So those are open from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and on Sunday from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Are they planning to open one in Boston, or?
Yeah, so
talk about it, but I don't know for sure. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yes, Brad Metcalf has been working closely with FEMA about getting one open at the Boston Community Center. We still have not gotten an official word if they're going to or not. We do have a meeting with them tomorrow to discuss that a little further. So we're hopeful that we're going to get one open right here in Nelson County, but that's still to be determined.
Okay.
We haven't got the, that's because the individual assistance was what we really wanted to get pushing for, and it was Nelson County was in the second round, but you get into detail. That's one of our main goals when all this started, is to help these people that with their insurance, and then come in with the FEMA side of it, and making sure that nobody gets left out. There's a lot of opportunities to get some assistance and money. And
so the difference between the blanket FEMA thing and the individual, I think that's what it's described as. What's the difference? One only benefits governmental entities, and the other one can't.
Well, they declare, national emergency. Then the governor declares state emergency. Then the county, like the judge and the mayor, we can declare an emergency. So, hey, this gives you some authority to do some things you don't have to, as far as bidding and some services you can provide it without going through the bidding process, and kind of eliminates some of the red tape, I guess you would say, regulations, and but you still have to get that next declaration, which is, it's probably the first time that since I've been judge and trying to understand that, is you got to get that individual assistance declaration. And then we still haven't got the public assistance declaration as far as, and we've got over $2 million that we've assessed county roads and bridges and all shoulders and all that kind of stuff, ditches, that when we met with the group, it was FEMA, what's the other department? The
Kentucky Emergency Management.
So they went out and we had a good meeting with them, and our people and engineers went out and looked at the roads and visited them, and we did a lot of homework and come up with the prices. And it's right at $2 million worth of damage that we think. Now, we've got all the roads open temporarily and patched, and we know we still got some that's sliding, and it's short term we can keep going, but hopefully long term we get this money. We got to put in some baskets and shoulders, and you got to put in some it's kind of like guardrails and just a lot of things that needs to be done on a permanent basis. But will we get that? We hope. We think we'll get part of it. Don't know. So that gives us the opportunity to help the citizens out. Depends on what road you live on, and so that has not been. I don't know when we'll hear about that, but our main thing was the individual assistance as much as anything. You get these.
Even if we don't get a local office, they can do it now. Those offices that you mentioned.
They can, yes. They can go and talk to any of those locations, and they'll ask them their address, and they'll get them set up based on the emergency that we had here. And it's from talking to the residents that have been dealing with them, the response has been positive. They've been easy to work with, and I know right after they reached out to them, they already have FEMA representatives coming to their homes, some last week, some this week. So they are getting on it pretty quickly about getting these residents assessed now that we finally got that declaration.
Well, that's a real stressed organization with, as the tornadoes this past weekend, flooding, and then, hopefully we're prepared for something that won't happen with the weather they're predicting. We are on Around the County with Judge-Executive Tim Hutchins. It's made possible by Joe Hill's Power Sports and Outdoor Equipment. We'll hear from them and we'll be back. We're back with more Around the County. Judge-Executive Tim Hutchins.
Yeah, it was funny.
Grants and also finance.
Yes.
Yeah, and she's wearing multiple hats. We've got so many things going on. It's she does all my scheduling too, and hell, I can't keep up with my schedule, so it's just a lot going on. One thing when you get in the emergency part of it, we did get the tire operating at the Culvertown ballpark. And it's fully operational. I guess there may be some tweaks. The Verizon, we made a deal, and I want to thank Keith Metcalf, magistrate in that area, and then of course Brad Metcalf is our EMA director, and then the court that approved this, fiscal court approved this, and so we own the land there. So Verizon is paying us a rental fee to rent that for their tire. Then we got an agreement, worked out with them, that we're putting all of our emergency equipment on their tire at no cost to the taxpayers. So that was a really good deal for the southern part of the county, and that one is operational. And so the signals down there for the emergencies, and of course people's cell phones ought to be better. And I think I may have told you this before, we're trying to work on one in Harrodstown area, the New Hope area, and we're going to try to keep expanding throughout the county wherever we need them at for the safety of the citizens and the police officers and the firefighters. That gets out there, they can't get a signal. So that's another good positive thing that we've got accomplished. And Catherine, so just get back on the emergency. Anything else related to that?
Yes, we put a message up on our Facebook account last night, the Emergency Management Facebook account, but we wanted to let everyone know that the NOAA weather radios will be offline for the next few days for a mandatory upgrade of the weather system. So what that means is weather radios in central Kentucky will not sound for any warnings that might be issued for severe weather through tonight. So with the severe weather that we have coming in tonight, we just want to make sure that all of the residents have another way to receive weather information. So emergency alerts, TV stations, social media, whatever that is, just be prepared to have another way to receive those alerts. There is activations that you can put on your iPhones or your Android phones. If you go to settings, notifications, public safety alerts, and emergency alerts, just make sure those are turned on your iPhone. Or for Androids, settings, notification, wireless emergency alerts. That should turn on those so you receive those on your cell phone.
And my cell phone right now says it's pouring down rain, and I don't know where it is, but not here in downtown Barnesville at the moment.
It looks like most of the severe weather is going to come in to our area between 5 and 9 this evening. The worst weather as of this morning at 5 a.m. says it's going to be south of us, but you know how that changes. So we want everyone to be vigilant and plan ahead. Try not to be on the roadways during that time if possible. Just remember not to call dispatch for any electrical outages unless it's affecting, your medical equipment or if there's a power line down. If you do have an electrical outage, just call your power company.
They get inundated, the dispatch, they inundated with all these phone calls, and they're limited, they just, they get bombarded, which is a good thing. We've got the service, and they've done a good job out there too, so.
You had the dispatch people on last week. We talked about emergency responses, even in their own personal case. If something happens with their system, they have backups.
So I think that's everything related to the FEMA and weather and all that. It's an ongoing, continuing stuff we look at. I was talking to Sean Dispatch this morning. Had a meeting with him over the record services that we've got. They come in and they call a rotating list when there's an accident, and I met with them today and upgraded that, making sure we got all our insurance in place and the policies in place, and that's just when people don't realize those little simple things that you take for granted, and it's just a lot to do. And he had a computer go down last week, because it cost us about, $2,000 or $3,000 of one of their systems. There's 4 of them that they operate with, and you got to continuously fight that battle all the time. So Catherine's we got to talk about we got another big event coming Thursday night that we've been working, Catherine and I, and then we started this. One of my big things is trying to get these when I say kids, but the students in the schools is we do have some of the opioid money, settlement money that we've got in our account, and I think I told you this before. It's when I got elected and talk about the drug problems, is trying to do a 3-prong. That's kind of my goal, is a 3-prong deal, is try to help the people that need the help. And through the Career Center, we've done about, there's a lot of programs through there. We brought another detective on through the Sheriff Department to help go after the people that's providing these bad drugs to the kids and families. We've done that, and we've solved a lot of cases. And then the third piece was get into schools and try to get a little bit more, tougher, and a little bit, instead of just patting them on the back, so we got some of these programs. So we kind of late. Operation Unite is another group we worked with last year. I'm going to continue to work this coming year quite a bit. Carl Varney, and I really like what they do in the schools, and that's another program that won't cost the local taxpayers any money. And we do have some money in our opioid that we're going to try to support them with. And next year we'll probably see a lot more of these programs. Try to do 1 or 2 every quarter. So trying to finish this year up with the seniors and whoever else can. So she's been working on this program with Misty, what's her last name, Roller?
Misty Roller with the green dot.
At the green dot at the hospital, and we kind of coordinated with her. And so Catherine, we're having a battle of the schools. So go ahead, Catherine, talk about that.
Yeah, so Battle of the Schools, it's a program that we're really excited about. We're launching it on this Thursday at 6 p.m. It's going to be at Nelson County High School at the football field. We're hoping to make it an annual event, and so this is going to be the first annual, and then yearly we will rotate locations, so it'll be at a different high school each year. So what this is Nelson County Fiscal Court has partnered with CHI and the Green Dot program to host a community-wide event bringing together seniors from all 4 of our local high schools for an evening of competition and fun. So what we're going to do is have seniors from each school face off in a series of games and challenges, and the winning school will take home a rotating trophy. So we're really excited about that. And then we're also going to have a Spirit Award, which will be bragging rights for the year for that school that has the most spirit. And so this is an event that we haven't done before in the county as far as I'm aware of. We're bringing all of those schools together, and it's more than just fun. It's also part of an ongoing drug-free campaign, like the judge mentioned, focused on encouraging healthy, positive choices among our youth, especially those seniors that are getting ready to go into the next phase and start making some choices for themselves. So we're excited to we're going to have elected officials there, people from our fiscal court, from our school boards, from the city council. We're going to have a variety of people there. So we want those students to know that the community is behind them. And they're also going to be premiering a student-led commercial that Grizzly Media produced with us from seniors from each school promoting a drug-free and vape-free lifestyle. So we're welcoming all underclassmen, families, community members to come out and show their support for our seniors. It'll be this Thursday at 6 p.m.
At Nelson County.
At Nelson County, yes, sir.
And can anybody attend?
Anybody can attend. Seniors are going to be competing, but we really encourage anybody to attend. We really try to get that Spirit Award.
Fans in the stands, yeah.
Absolutely. Fans in the stands, bring posters. We have some of our Cooper Trail Senior Living, another sponsor of your all's. They are actually making some signs for us to hold up, some posters. So we're really excited to bring lots of different facets of the community together to make.
That's a different kind of senior over there.
That's right. Yep.
I love
senior
that
supporting seniors.
Well, this Battle of the Schools, I'd say it'd be the first event that's happened in the county to this magnitude, and we was a little bit late getting it started and organized, and I'll take the blame for that because going into this week, because a lot of the seniors are graduating, and they're doing a lot of other things. So it probably would have been better if we had it maybe a week or two earlier, and then that's something we'll look into over the next year going into it for the seniors. But we're going to get into more just the seniors as these programs go on, because it's Operation Unite, and like I say, with the Green Dot, and get more sponsors involved, and probably get in more to the middle schools and high schools, and just there's a lot of other programs that will come up and try to unify some of these other, I guess, organizations, and
absolutely,
that'd be really good.
If I can just touch on what the judge was saying as far as the timing of this. This is our first annual event, so of course we have some learning to do, but we're excited as far as the timing goes, getting this right at the end of the school year, being one of the last things that they're hearing about before they go off and make those choices. They're not in mom and dad's house, most of them now. They're going to be moving out and making their own choices. So having all of these students from all classes come together from all schools, getting them in to hear one centralized message is what we're really excited about. And we're also going to have some guest speakers that are going to be giving some testimonials, and we think it's going to be very powerful and impactful for all of those students, no matter what age you are, that are there to hear these testimonials from these guest speakers.
Let's hope it's not pouring down raining.
So far, the weather looks good. Let's hope it keeps it up.
Let's see what the weather.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be nice, and we're trying to get elected officials and of course teachers and anybody that's in the leadership positions there, and just kind of create a message and lead by example, and let them know that we're there trying to spread the word. So
the schools have been great to work with as far as this goes, with letting us come in and shoot that commercial with their students, and offering to pass out these flyers and getting the word out to their students. So shout out to all of those schools and school boards that are helping get this message out. We've hung up flyers in local businesses, so everyone that we've talked to has been really complimentary of this program, and so we're excited to get this rolling and get it off the ground.
But you'll be nervous until it's done.
That's right. We're ready for it to get here. Less than a week away.
I always say, I'm glad it's the day after, and I said that Monday after the radio off.
348-2222, Ross, 348-2222, if anybody wants to
Indeed,
call
and I'm not
or
turning my
text.
backs on you too. Nor I'm turning my backs to read a text.
Yeah, that's fine. That's, everybody can talk about any issues that they want, but this is just...
Comment comes in. Just wanted to say how nice Dean Watts Park looks. It looks better now than it has in years. And just adding the curbs to hold the pea gravel around the pavilion was a small fix that nobody ever took time to correct beforehand. Thank you for your leadership and for taking the time to notice little things that do make a difference. Now you just need to change. Never mind.
Well,
If I can speak to the Dean Watts Park, we had and you may have talked about this last week, I'm not sure, Thomas Nelson, the General Serve Project, they contacted me a couple weeks ago and asked if there was any projects that we could have them work on. So that's a great project that they do there at Thomas Nelson with all grades, where they do community service projects. So we had a few different projects outlined at Thomas Nelson, or at the Dean Watts Park, that we asked him to work on. So Tyler Wimsett there at the park, he does a wonderful job, and he gave us a few things that those seniors could do, and they got a lot done in the day that they were there. We had a morning group of girls there and an afternoon group of males that attended, and they knocked
Which one
out
did
a
the
lot of
best?
stuff.
Girls or boys? That's what I want to know. I want somebody to tell me which one worked the hardest.
That's a Keith Willett question.
Keith Willett. We had Roth on that comment because we was out to the park this weekend, and actually her kids were playing in soccer, and I'm always, since I've been judge, we've made some changes. So Tyler Wimsett, I've got a contract with Tyler, and he kind of oversees the park and manages it, and it's a part-time position for him. But he's got a passion for it, and he's got some people that help him in different organizations. And so we went out there at first year mine, and we did a lot of work and cleaning up and weeding and landscaping, and put up some gates and repairs, just a lot of things, that painting and pressure washing. And so we've did a lot of improvements. And then when I ride around and check things and go out there, then I've always been criticized by a few people that I'm not real good about giving compliments.
Yeah.
So I said,
It's not a good group to be part of, but we are.
So I'm always sending messages to Brad Spalding's our county engineer, and John Greenville, county engineer, and they help oversee the park with Tyler Wimsett, and Keith Willett does a lot. So I'm always sending them a message. I call them love notes. I'll usually write them down. I'll take a picture and send it to them. So this week, Sunday, I changed that. I said, damn, it looks good out there. Everything's nice and clean and mowed, and the grass is pretty. So I sent them a broad message that said, everything looks great at Dean Watts Park. And so trying to change my view on the positive side. And they have done a good job. It's really, and there's always more to do. And we've had some of the chain link fences have got hit that we got to do some repairs to. And so there's a lot, it's when you're dealing with thousands and thousands of kids and families, and that place is busy, really busy.
Hosting I think the district baseball. That's Bethlehem's home field. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, they got their home field. They got the districts coming up, and they've got a lot of people out there. And we, on our end, on the fiscal court side, since I've became judge, we brought Tyler on, and he's a big baseball guru anyway. And then we've been had meetings about expanding the baseball complex. I think I've mentioned it on here. And our engineers were trying to design, because everything costs so much. But I gave them a target. Say, this is what I want you to be. I want to be the best baseball, softball, t-ball complex in the state of Kentucky, which means we need concession stands, more bathrooms, more parking, because the football has pretty much gone away, and that's going in with the high schools. And they all run all the football through the high schools. It frees us up some land because we're, pretty much locked. So we can build several more baseball fields and try to do some artificial turf and so on. So that's our next project as far as out there. That's the biggest need that we can see. I think we're like the second largest as far as the number of participants in baseball, softball in the state of Kentucky. We're way up. So it's the point that we're just out of room. So that's our next big project out there that we're working on, and we're trying to, it's always something you got to improve on. And so that's, anyway, I won't say that because the park, when they made that comment, I think it looks really good out there. But for some reason, I don't know why, it's the windiest place in Nelson County. When you go out there, it's always been like that. I don't know why, where the wind. It's the windiest place in Nelson County. But anyway, that's, whoever sent that, I appreciate it, because they have made a lot of strides, and it's improved a lot more, and it's used, that's for sure.
Question, projected date, is there one for the Boston Road 245 bypass that's being constructed?
Well, one thing I will say on here, the Boston Bridge on Boston Road, what's the road, the little shortcut? UI Sloop they was using as a shortcut, and all these other ones. So they got that bridge open now, so they don't have to use UI Sloop. So anybody that's listening about UI Sloop, that we'll be going in and cleaning up the shoulders in the road and doing some ditching and seeding and strawing and get it back in shape. It's so we've added some shoulders to it and so on. The new, what they call inner bypass, the target date was going to be probably October, November to be open this year. Now that's going to be pushed out a little bit because the state has decided to put a roundabout on 245 where it connects to Wilson Park. You get your four-way connection there. Mm-hmm. So that will become a roundabout, and that's I've talked to the state engineers about it several times, and they were going to put a red light there, and they've changed their mind and looked at the traffic flows and everything, and they're trying to slow that traffic down a little bit coming over from the Bardstown side, and you come up that next little ridge to help the people coming in and out of the Cedars subdivision to slow that traffic down, because that red light will be removed.
Okay.
So you can't come into Templin any longer. So it'll be, everybody comes down and hit this roundabout, which I think is going to turn out really well. So that's going to push the project. Unless we just have really good dry weather, it could be open, toward the early winter, but more than likely it'd be more spring before they get it finished up. So
that's a state project, right?
That's a state project, but it's they really, on the other end, on the Boston end, they're starting to move a lot more material too. The company that's done it is, they moved a lot of material. It's pretty amazing.
Moved to bring that road up.
So they've, when you get it done, I know, just like everybody else, me and everybody, I know it's when you got to fight the traffic and you got to leave a little bit earlier. I'm always on time, right, Catherine? Mm-hmm. So we try to, but we get through it. It'll be a big improvement for the county. So.
Okay. I hadn't even thought about completion date on that.
Yeah.
Certainly didn't know about a roundabout.
I'll tell you the roundabouts. So let me just tell you this real quick, because I hear people debate roundabouts. Yeah. And since I was a magistrate, back in the 90s, and they didn't put any in. There was discussions with some of the state engineers back then, and never did really proceed till they get into later on in the 2000s. But the last 4 or 5 years, the state has adopted that policy, and they're putting them everywhere. Mm-hmm. So, and the data proves it since they started this. I'm talking about through the E-Town district that we're part of. Brad Bottoms is the chief engineer there. They've had, since they started putting these roundabouts in the last, I'm going to say 3, 4, 5 years, and they're taking red lights out. E-Town a lot. There's been 0 deaths, okay? 50% less severe accidents, as far as injury accidents, 50% less, 0 deaths. I think 72% less severe accidents as far as destroying your vehicles. And so they do have a wreck or fender benders. So it saves you on your insurance, it saves you on your life, and it's just it's a win-win. Some people don't like it because of the change. Once they usually get used to them, but I'll tell you, the data proves 100% that they're very, very effective. And,
safe, that's the thing.
And safe, yeah. You don't get T-boned, people trying to run through their red lights, and so it's proven. They're really proven to be effective.
But we still have some people. I keep thinking every morning when I come around here that I'm gonna bump into the car next to me. It very seldom is there a car next to me, but I keep thinking that's gonna be embarrassing when I have to report that I couldn't stay in my lane.
The toughest one is because of the courthouse. I mean, you go down there in front of St. Joe, that in my opinion, that's just a no-brainer. That thing has been 100% effective. The one around the courthouse is a little different because you got this big building right in the middle. You can't see all the way through, and so people learning how to do it. But that's a little bit tighter. So,
let's see. Not sure who would fix this issue, but the light at Circle K in front of Nelson County High School needs to be reset because you sit forever at it, and something has to be wrong with it. Well, sometimes they do malfunction, whatever it is, but
depending on which way you're going. I don't know what's the direction, whoever this is, if you're listening to me, if you can send me if it's coming from Woodlawn, because I witnessed it the other day. It was really long coming from the Woodlawn. Or is it coming out of Nelson County, or is it coming, which way is it? Because the signals, you get the different signals, so I'd like to know. I've turned one in this week on 245 coming from the Louisville. When you hit 245 going left right there, that signal turns so fast you don't get about 2 or 3 cars. I'm trying to get them to extend that one a little bit because the traffic really backs up at school time. So, but it's hard to get them all synchronized. And of course, it's a state deal, but we'll try to work with them if they can send me and we'll look at it. I'll try to get it. Somebody would look at it, tell whoever this is.
Indicate it's Woodlawn or coming from the school parking lot. So it's
okay.
Cross. I'd call it the cross.
Yeah, so it's coming, on the side roads. And that's what I was assuming it was.
Let's see. So 348-2222. You're listening to Around the County with Judge-Executive Tim Hutchins, and with him today, Catherine Beavers, who does grant writing, finance, and lots of other things. Keeps you in line on time.
She's got my damn schedule.
That one.
An impossible job.
Schedule too full because I can't keep up with it. I mean, my goodness, I'm going to delete some of this stuff. What else you got, Catherine, on our to-do list? We got some. One thing we haven't talked about is garbage. That's another job that I've given her. She's working with Teresa, which does a garbage billing and occupational tax, and Teresa Blanford, and then Salt River does mainly our billing. And so we've had 3 or 4 people doing it, and then so Catherine is kind of taking that role on that. I found out that there's a lot of garbage bills that hadn't been paid that you've heard me talk about before. Does she got any phones, or how we doing?
No, this probably. I'll hand her mine if you need this. I got a feeling it's going to be for you. At least that's what I'm believing. All right, caller, go ahead. You're on the air. Hello, caller. Well, wait a minute. It does help to hit the button. Caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
Yeah, it's Tim Smith out Woodlawn.
Yes, Tim.
You was talking about the stoplight issue at the Nelson County. It's coming out of Woodlawn. I sat there forever the other day. I thought I was going to have to run the red light just to get through. I sat there forever the other day.
So, but did you run the red light?
No. Be my luck, it'd be a cop sitting down the road said he seen me.
Yeah, I'll get it. I'll turn it into the state. I got one more we've been working on, and that I witnessed that the other day myself, and I kind of said the same thing that you said. I could see it was there for a long, long time. But
and there's another issue. We can't fully hear the tornado alarms out here out in Woodlawn area, and that's an issue for us out in here. You can barely, faintly hear it way off in the distance, but you don't hear it loud enough to alert anybody.
the weather, you talking about the weather alarms?
Yeah.
Okay, Catherine, write that down. I don't know where the closest one is out there, but now just to be clear, those weather sirens are designed for people outside, not necessarily in the house.
Right, that's what I'm talking about. Even outside, you just barely can hear it.
Where's the closest?
Way out here.
Where is the closest one out there? Is it out there by the EMS building?
Closest one's in town.
Rossi, can you hear me okay, Mr. Smith?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll make a note of that because we've got some more weather warning sirens that we have received. We got some from another county last year that they got a grant, and we end up getting several more. So we've got several more that we can put up, and we're going to put up, and I'll put that on a high priority list for you.
Well, we need one bad out here because, like I said, you barely can hear it from outside.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to think where the closest one to that area is, but we'll take care of it. We're putting more up throughout the county. I think we've already put up. Well, I don't know. We've put several since I've been judge, but I don't know how many more. But we've got like I think 10 or 12 more that we can put up. We just got to we have to find the right locations. What about putting it
All
in
right
there at your house?
Y'all stay safe through these storms today.
You live in Woodlawn on the main road, or where you live at?
I live right across the road from the old Woodlawn store.
Yeah. I might put that siren right in your backyard.
Well, you come over and do it. That'd probably be help.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
There you go.
Yeah, we've got several of those sirens that I forget how many more we've got we've got in stock that we can do. So we'll be doing
12.
several more. I don't know how many more. Brad's got that handled, but we will definitely do that. Okay. So we was talking about garbage before that call, and I've given Catherine some of that task too. We've had hundreds, and you've heard me say it, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars that we have found on the books that hadn't been collected, and so we've started going after, I hate to say it that way, but people that hadn't paid their garbage bills that we're basically going sending you the bills and going after them, and we've got some agreements through the county attorney. We got some on payment plans, and we're willing to work with any and everybody, and but they got to work with us and show that they're making progress. So with that being said, we have decided also that if the ones that's not fully paid or have an agreement and making some kind of an accomplished movement, that we're going to be putting them on their property tax bills more than likely this fall. So I don't know how many, we got thousands. We've collected more money. Our revenue stream's better. More stable than it was for that reason, and more people have started because we have put the message out and let them know that they need to pay their bill, and so we've seen more movement that way, that people that were behind, or everybody can get behind to a month or two or maybe 3, but
I'm curious, did anybody come to you saying, I haven't received a bill, or did they wait to be contacted by you?
They wait to be contacted.
Okay.
I had a few people that said, well, I knew I wasn't getting billed, but I wasn't going to say anything, but you caught me.
Well, it's just I don't know. I could go in here and blame. I've done been through this thing. It's bothered me probably as much as anything since I've been judge, is the garbage bills or how they were handled, or you had so many different departments handling of them and nobody followed up on them. And
so what is the dollar amount now that we've collected, and whether we still
Yeah, so past due garbage accounts, I usually do a monthly report. As of May 5th, excluding the credits, we had past due of $339,675.01. So, like the judge said, we are decreasing that amount monthly. We are making more valiant efforts to go after these residents that are past due. And, talking to these people, several people maybe don't realize that their account's past due until we send them a late notice. Maybe they think it's on automatic, their electric's on automatic, but they don't have their garbage on automatic. So that's what I'm seeing a lot of. So just a few reminders, if you don't mind, for everyone is Salt River is they do our garbage billing. So even if you don't have Salt River Electric, you would still receive a garbage bill from Salt River. So if you see something in the mail, don't just toss it thinking you don't use Salt River Electric. So it's nothing. Be sure to open that up. And if you wait to get your second notice from Salt River Electric, anything you pay towards that is going to go to your electric bill unless you specify. So if you wait to get your second notice on your electric, anything you pay is going to go all to your electric unless you specify that some of that should go to garbage. Also, if your electric is on prepay, you need to specify which portion of your payment should go to garbage. Otherwise, their assumption is it's all going to your electric. So just a couple things to be mindful of. You can put your garbage bill on bank draft. Even again, if you don't have Salt River Electric, you can still put that on bank draft. You can call into their automated system. Anybody that receives a bill from them, again, even if you don't have Salt River Electric, you can still call the automated system and make a garbage payment.
You have, Catherine, on this, because we got Salt River Electric, and I'm talking about in the county. Then you got KU, and then you got
Inter-county.
Inter-county, and there's one more in it.
Those are the three main ones. There may be another small.
And then, because the city of Bardstown
and
does.
The city of Bloomfield.
And Bloomfield. So we picked up New Haven. We do New Haven's garbage now, and it's just been, I don't know, the lack of communication, and part of it, I'm not going to throw Salt River under the bus, but some of it is, a little bit of Salt River's, the building. We've worked with them, sat down with them, and worked out a few little, kinks, and a lot of it is the fiscal courts side under the code enforcement side. And how they did it, why they did it, I don't know. But so if you're building a house in especially KU's territory, for example, and you get a service turned on, temporary service. I built several houses. I'm paying my bill as a builder, but when I sell it to, let's say, Catherine, there's a lack of communication there, so they didn't get the copy of the CO, certificate of occupancy. So that's where I think we find out there's a lot of gray area there that they didn't get the full, Salt River didn't get the full notification. They're going to start building Catherine, and next thing you know, you've got hundreds and hundreds of them. We had, at one time, we was up to about 300. Now, we've eliminated several that, I don't know how many total, that we went back. There's maybe a vacant lot or a garage that, don't have electric. So it's not everybody that's, so she sent out notices and people's call. You had like 70-something calls, didn't you?
We're up to 136 properties that need to be billed that haven't been billed. So we have started billing those 136 properties that we've identified that needed to be billed. So most of those were easy to work with, and like the judge said, several of them were maybe new properties that just hadn't been billed. So Teresa and I have been working closely with Vanessa and code enforcement, and she's sending me weekly any of those new COs, and we're following up on those. Also, the PVA sales list, whenever a property is sold, we're looking at that to see how it transferred over to the next owner, and confirming that the garbage bill has been transferred as well. So we have several different ways that we're tracking this. Renters, if we've identified which properties are renters, and so whenever they switch renters, and we're switching the name of the garbage bill then as well. So we have a lot of different avenues that we're working on getting these paid. So it's a lot of work, but we are making a lot of progress, and Salt River has been great to work with. They're doing their due diligence as far as keeping up with payments received by them, and we're letting them know whenever we receive payments so they can update their records as well. So we've got a lot of different pieces, but it's coming together. So
Yeah, it's been a pain. I'm gonna tell you, it's a lot for her, and then of course Teresa and Vanessa, and then when I get all those reports trying to figure them out, and of course you got the dumpsters and roll-off box. There's a lot of, so it's just a communication or lack of it, I think, in the past, and we got some new computer system, and we're working with PVA, like I say, Teresa's trying to do that, so but it's been a challenge, I'm gonna tell you that. Like I say, there's hundreds of thousands of dollars not paid, and then we found out these other ones are not even being billed. I don't think you got a number that shows that yet, do you?
136 properties to be billed, which would be annual revenue that we'd receive of over $33,000.
And then we're not finished yet, so
Yeah,
once we
still
get
not finished.
July, I told them we got to have this done by July 1st, because I'm tired of messing with it, tired of talking about it, and get this thing finished. But we've had all these storms in July, so you got about 6 weeks. You better really get moving. So
No pressure.
we're trying to get it. We got to get it done. It's just hundreds of thousands of dollars done. We got that by putting the message out, and then we've seen more people's finally got the attention and paying their bills, and that account, that department is very solid financially, and we've had to make some adjustments there, and I'll present the new budget tonight. We'll have first reading on it to the magistrates, and the old thing I keep telling you not to bring up that we brought up last week that you asked. So we got that approved on the putting the heating and air unit in the Old Courthouse and the remodeling downstairs for the Tourist Commission, and came in about $1,450,000, and we've got it all agreed on, and we got the money set aside to pay for that. So we got a very good solid budget that we're going to have first reading on tonight. We got for reserves. We feel really good about all of our different accounts. So it's been a lot of work. You know, we've made a lot of adjustments and saved a lot of money in different departments, and health insurance. I got to meet with health insurance this afternoon. We know there's going to be an increase in that. You know, our umbrella, even though we're self-insured. So Rhonda, the treasurer, Rhonda Fenwick, and Brad Metcalf and myself, we've really put a lot of time. Rhonda's put a lot of time into this budget. I put more time into this year than I have in the past two, to be quite honest, and moving things around and getting adjustments, make sure our revenue streams are good. So I feel really, really good that the county's in very solid financial shape. And that's with lowering property tax rates from 13.7 to 12. We've left about $700,000 on the table that we could have taken the last 2 years. We didn't even take what the state recommended rate was, and so that's about $700,000 we left on the table. That, you know, some people say, well, you should have taken it, shouldn't take it. Well, I campaigned on lowering the rates, and that's what we've done. So I feel good about it. Now we still got to make some fee adjustments, what I call user fees. If people pay their own way, we still got some more things there to do. But overall, I feel really, really good about it. And the court, we got a very good, solid fiscal court. Rhonda does a good job watching every little penny, and all of our department heads. We got a new system in place. We're getting ready to enact on our POs, and so I feel really good about it. So to get this garbage lined out, I feel a whole lot better about it.
So when the renovation, heating and air, and all that starts, you guys are moving. Again, remind our audience where your staff will be, and then where.
Well, the top floor, everybody at the top floor, which will be the PV. Let's see, you got County Judge, and of course Catherine and Rhonda, Carol, and the code enforcement, Brad Metcalf. We'll be moving out. Teresa will be moving out to the behind Cinco. Let's just say where Cinco is, and Commonwealth Attorney's got it now. When they get into their new location, we're going to take that. And I'm just going to say 6 months, from July to January probably. And then the bottom floor, Stacy and the tourism department's going to move in behind Hearst Drugs, in between there and the new building where the standard office was, and have their visitor center all right in that area. Okay. Lisa and the chamber is going to move down at the where the licensing is now at the Career Center. And Randy with Main Street, she'll be in and out there somewhat, and then Kim Rogers in and out there somewhat. A couple of them be working from home, so it'll be 3 different locations, and just have to get it worked out. Catherine, what else you got on your notes before we get out of time here in about 5 minutes?
I think that covers it. Just again, remind everybody about the Battle of the Schools event this Thursday at 6 p.m. at Nelson County High School.
I know the Roth, one thing I will say, I don't know if I brought this up last week, is Hardstown Road. I feel really good that we've got that through the rural secondary program, and I've worked with Brad Bottoms and the engineers at E10, and we've agreed, and the official courts agreed to do it. So we've got enough money allocated through the rural secondary program that we're going to repave Hardstown Road all the way from, I think it's 52, all the way to Hardstown, the whole road that's in Nelson County there. And that road, is in really, really bad shape. I've heard it before I got elected and after, and I keep telling people we're going to get it. So we've got it appropriated. We was going to take some of that money and do partial roads and rural secondaries. Like 509 is, I think, the one that needs it the next. I think we're going to get a little bit of money to get part of 509 done maybe this year also, but the Hardstown Road, that's about $1.2 million. That's a big deal. So that's we've got 2 bridges we're doing on Sullivan Lane and one down on the old Woodlawn Road, county roads. The state's paying for. We got to pay maybe 10% of it. One bid came in really low. I'm working on, I think it's Simpson Creek Road up there in the Bloomfield area. They got 3 low water bridges. We're going to apply for an 80-20 grant to get that one done. And then we're looking, we're going to, our blacktop's already started, left over from last year, so we've got a lot of roads that's going to be blacktop and paved this year. So we just feel really good about what's going on for us countywide.
Did you say a low water bridge?
When you say low water bridges,
Like a ford?
well, they're designed where water does run over them in these flash floods and things that, you can't take so much money to put what I call a huge bridge in, and we've got certain, they're everywhere. I mean, if you replaced every road, every bridge, every pipe that on a 100-year rain they call it, well, your taxes would probably be double. You just can't do it. I mean, it might run over for 5 or 10 minutes and then everything's good. This, it's just and it's not a safety issue, but so the Battle of the Schools, you going to be there?
I don't know.
Clear your schedule, Rob.
Thursday at 6.
Thursday at 6.
You don't know. Well, we're telling you better be there because, this show here is pretty important, and it's. I think you can be there to help support that and push that program a little bit.
Well, I know that Catherine and Misty were in here last week.
Yes,
last week.
Yeah.
I knew they were talking about it then.
Yep, it's on Facebook, so please share the event on Facebook as well.
There'll be a lot of stuff there for the kids to do, and it'll be a good event. I think it's going to be really good and very exciting. Anytime you get 3 high schools, 4 high schools, well, 3 school systems, but 4 high schools work together in unified effort, and you got 3 of them, 3 different divisions, you'd say, education departments. So that's the same way I'm working on this Agri-Science Center at the fairgrounds. We're moving forward with that, and I've got all the 3 high schools have agreed to work together on that program too, through their FFA program and the Ag division, and so that's really good, and you get the community working together. It's good for everybody. So, all right, thank you, Roth, and we want to thank Joe Hill's Power Sports at Joe Hill's up on here on 245, and they thank them for sponsoring this show.
They make it happen. And
thank Catherine for being here, and anybody's got any questions anytime about anything, probably the easiest number to remember is 348-1800, and they'll get you to the right person about basically anything that you need to talk about countywide, even if it's the state, bring it to us, and we'll help try to coordinate it.
This show is recorded and will be back on social media here on WBRT's Facebook page and on Nelson County Gazette. Brought to you by Joe Hill's Outdoor Power Equipment.